Hey everyone, it's Lucy from KBeautyHobbit.com. Welcome to my channel. I do a lot of nail tutorials here, typically for different stickers, both the kinds that you need to cure and the kinds that you don't, as well as some press-on nails. I have playlists organized by the type of nail. I also have one master nails playlist, so if you like nail content and DIY at-home manicure content, give me a follow and check out some of my other videos. Today we're going to be trying a new-to-me brand called Kijibae, or at least I think that's how it's pronounced. This is not sponsored, not gifted. I bought this with my own money. So let's get started. Before I forget, this is in the color Cough Syrup. I know sometimes I forget to mention it, and then later when people ask, I no longer remember. I'm immediately super happy to see a rubber tip cuticle pusher. I seriously think that every nail brand should include this, or at least include it with your first order, because it is a very important tool for a good application. 2 big nail cleanser wipes, a little instructional booklet with step-by-step guide. Honestly, this is a lot more detailed than what I normally see. I like seeing the little pictures here, but I'm going to show you my best tips and tricks. I have quite a few up my sleeve. I've been doing nails at home with stickers for about 10 years now, so I'm very experienced, and I pretty much have it down to where they last and look really, really well for 2 weeks or longer. And then here's our strips themselves. This is quite a bit longer than the typical. For comparison, this is Lit Gels packaging, and then here's Hey packaging, and this Kijibae is quite a bit longer, and I've never seen nails in this format actually. Everything is on one strip, but other than that, the packaging is similar to a Hora with what looks like individual covers for each strip, which I prefer to the big shared flap. Before we start applying though, let's prep the nails. This is where one of my couple optional tools come in. I highly suggest buying one of these. This is a metal cuticle pusher. Now, if you want to remove your cuticle, if you know how to do that, if you're trained to do that, I'm not going to stop you, but it's not the safest thing to do if you're not a professional. So I prefer to push them back with the metal tip, and then I take this pointy side and sort of go over very, very gently. You don't want to dent your actual nail. And kind of scrape whatever dust came off or whatever is still kind of attached. Again, do not get fanatical here. You do not want to create grooves in your nails. Before I even started filming, I washed my hands with soap and water, dried them with a towel, and avoided any lotions, creams, and oils. Basically, you want everything to be dry and kind of boring before you start. And then I strongly suggest avoiding submerging your hands in water for extended periods of time, like dishes, showers, baths, that kind of stuff, for basically as long as you can within reason. Like 1 hour at the very least, I would say. The best time to do your nails is right before bed. And I still do wash my hands, especially if I do them before bed. You know, there's some, like going to the bathroom before bed, you're definitely going to wash your hands after that. And that does not seem to affect the longevity of the manicure, but I would avoid doing dishes and things like that. I normally don't trim my nails before I start doing them, but this time I did, because my last manicure, which actually was filmed as well, it was the one where I used Hey nails and then the Dashing Diva One Gel Magnetic Sheer Top Coat. Those lasted so well. I finally took them off after 17 days because I got busy. Normally 14 days is kind of the max recommended, but there was no lifting, nothing, but my nails were so long. I took everything off a day or two ago, and I don't think my nails would have survived with how long they were. I think I would have probably broken one. So I cut them and shaped them a little bit. But if your nails are sort of within reason for you, you are welcome to just leave it how it is. If you're new to doing nail stickers and you have absolutely no clue what your size might be, note that this end, the outer edge, is the cuticle side. The middle part here goes toward the top, so they go like this. And with this design, it actually kind of matters because the cuticle edge is a little bit more see-through. They create this kind of natural fade to make it look more natural, and probably also to make the growth less noticeable, honestly, because if you have a very sharp, dark edge right by the where the nails would grow, you will see that grow out a lot faster. So if you're very new to nails, you might want to just kind of hold them up a little bit and kind of figure out what your sizing might be before you decrease them. If you're going to touch your nails a lot, I think I can probably do a decent job kind of guessing the sizes, so I'm going to go ahead and use the nail cleanser. As far as nail cleansers, the included wipes go, this is actually really nice. It feels like it's lint-free or very low lint, and it's nice and plushy. Sometimes they're paper thin with some brands, and in that case, I just go ahead and use rubbing alcohol. just little Curad brand prep pads. I get them in huge boxes at Costco. The point of this is to remove any other leftover remaining oils, basically anything else that you might have on your nails. Now, if you have super, super, super oily nails, you can wash them with Dawn dish soap before you start your manicure. You could do something like a nail dehydrator or use acetone, but I have eczema and sensitive skin on my hands and I don't want to do that. If you've been a viewer for a while, you know that I always start with my pinky, and that's just my normal process. That's my habit. I thought I'd go ahead and change it up today. I'm going to do my thumb first, and I'm just trying to kind of guess if this is the correct size. I think this is way, way too wide. So I think this is my correct size. So I'm going to peel off the little thin protective layer. See, there's one right over the top of each nail. And like I said, that's my preferred way, honestly, of packaging them, because I like having the rest of the nails, the ones that are going to be left over, still protected with that little layer. And then I'm going to peel from the top. If you have very long nails and you're going to need most of the length of the sticker and you don't want to touch the sticky side under there, you can use tweezers to peel it off. Be careful peeling this. I already see that you could probably deform it a bit because it's stretchy, which means you can stretch it side to side and make it wider, which is great, but you can also pull too hard and cause a deformity in this nail, and especially if you have a design of some sort, that might be a problem. Okay, so we have a clean nail. I'm not touching it with my skin of my finger. I'm using my other nail to push back. There's a little bit of something right there. Okay, so I'm going to line up the cuticle side as close to the skin as possible of the sticker, the cuticle side of the sticker, without overlapping. And I like to kind of make a connection in the middle like this first with just the very tip of the sticker, and then gently lay it down like this and let go and take a look. Does this look like it's pretty straight? The answer is yes. So because if you just smush it down, it's going to be hard to reposition. This looks okay to me, so I'm going to now take my finger pad and smush it down. Keep in mind that the sticker at this point is semi-cured. This brand does require you to use a light to fully cure them. So you don't want to be using your nail to be pushing. You're going to dent the sticker. And sometimes those dents pop back out and sometimes they don't. So I use the pad, and then this is where this tool comes in handy. Now, if you don't have one, if you're using a brand of stickers that doesn't come with it, I highly suggest buying a pack on Amazon and just having some. They're not very expensive. You can get fancier ones that are long and have some kind of other tool on the other side. I don't know. I just use these plain ones. So I take that and go around the perimeter of the nail, right where the sticker kind of connects to the edge of the nail, and just push it down. And what this does is it eliminates the bubbles, the buckles. It basically makes sure that there's a perfect seal. You can use a squish light also, which I've shown in a lot of videos, and I know that it's sometimes hard to find on Amazon, and my listings that I reference in the links keep going inactive. But I do have an Amazon shopping storefront. I don't sell anything, but I save my favorite links there. So all of that is linked in the description for this video. So you can check that out. I try to keep that pretty current. Now that that's all smushed down, I use manicure scissors. You can use clippers if you want. Please beware of marketing materials, marketing videos. Some famous brands do this, and I cannot stand it. They show people curing their nails with this big long overhang like what I just had, and then they cut it. That is not going to work. That is going to chip the sticker most likely, because it's going to be hard. Once you cure it, it is going to harden. That is not the time to trim it, okay? The time to trim it is now. The time to file it is after you cure. This is what it looks like, and it's not perfect. You can see a little edge here. That is all okay. All of that can be fixed after it's cured. Let's do one more, and I'm going to go back to my preferred order, which is pinkies first. If you're having a hard time figuring out what size you need by simply holding it up, try to kind of curve the material around. Sometimes it makes the sticker curve a little as well, and you can see a little bit better how it lines up. So I think this one is the right size. And I cannot stress it enough. If you are applying something, you haven't cured it yet, and it just does not look right, go ahead and just remove it and do a different one, because trust me, if you're anything like me, it's going to just drive you wild the whole time when it's just not perfect. And maybe you're better adjusted and don't care about that. Okay, it's on, so I haven't smushed it down. Just looking for generally is it straight? It is. Smush, smush, smush. Gonna show you a little trick I showed in one of my other videos, but I don't expect everybody to watch every single one. When there's just a tiny bit of a sliver there left, this is actually completely fine. But let's say the sliver was just a little bit wider than this. Not so wide that you need a different size, but just a little too wide for comfort. Before you cure, you can take your rubber tip cuticle pusher and start right here, close to the edge, and push like you mean it. Don't push down hard, but push to the side hard, and it actually can stretch that sticker a little bit. This will depend on the brand, but brands like Ahora, Lit Gels, Hey Hey, and this one, Kijibae, it works with them. So you can see that the sliver is smaller now. And sometimes a tiny bit, like a half of a millimeter, tenth of a millimeter, visually makes a difference. Again, maybe not everybody is a perfectionist like me, but I am. I finished applying all the nails off camera. It's honestly so much faster and easier to do it without filming. And then I cured them under a lamp. I did one round of 60 seconds. This will depend on your lamp. I highly recommend you get a full-size lamp. I don't think it has to be really, really expensive, like professional grade, but I would definitely go with something that's a little bit bigger and nicer than the freebie lamps that you get from brands. And just as a little personal anecdote, my daughter and I were making those Make It Mini kits. You know, the kinds with resin, like the little toy. There's a little surprise inside, and then I don't know, hers was like a Hello Kitty cereal one where you mixed it, and then you have to cure that resin under a UV light. And like 10 rounds under a little U brand lamp did not fully cure it. One round under my normal big size lamp at home cured that and cured my own project, and I was making like a Harry Potter potion. So, not that it's hard evidence, but I just think that those little free lamps most of the time are just not powerful enough. Okay, this is without any top coats. It is cured. It's hard. And you could just stop right here. I highly recommend doing a top coat. I think it looks so much better, and it also seals the free edge and makes your manicure last longer. Typically, I use just a regular, like clear top coat. I really like this one. This is Lit Gels. It's HEMA-free top coat. I also liked and used Alice & Bella for a long time. Most recently, in the last video, I tried the Dashing Diva One Gel Magnetic top coat. That was super cool. And that one is iridescent, kind of glittery. So, I am now on to trying different special effects top coats because those are so fun. And today we're going to be using the new one from Lit Gels. This is not sponsored, but this one is gifted. And it is the Lit Gels in the Sun Glitz version. I don't think the picture here does it justice. I'll show you what it is. This top coat is HEMA-free and it has sparkles in it. You see that? I actually went ahead and did my right hand already. So if you can peek like a little bit of my right hand off to the side, you will see that. And if I forgot to mention it, I cured my nails, but I also then went ahead with the provided nail file and cleaned up anything rough. The nail file they provide, by the way, is really good. Okay, so I capped the free edges with the top coat. This is a no-wipe top coat. If you're an OG user of gels, if you remember when they first came out, you know that it used to be that you would apply the top coat and then have to cure it, and it would have this tacky layer on top that you had to remove with rubbing alcohol. You no longer have to do that. This is after one layer of that Sun Glitz top coat. It's cured. I cured it for 60 seconds. It is very nice. It feels hard. For comparison, and I know this is where cameras really don't do justice, it's hard to tell, but this is 2 coats here. And I'll probably end up doing what I did with that last manicure where I used the Dashing Diva gel. I'll probably try to post some pictures in the natural light, maybe pictures taken with my cell phone camera versus the camera I have here for filming, because the bright light I have to make sure that you guys can see everything, it also kind of washes out the sparkles. And the 2 coats is significantly more dramatic looking. I can see the little sparkle flecks a lot better. So I'm going to go ahead and do the 2 coats. And if you're wondering what the glove is, it is just a UV protection glove. I always wear these when I work with UV lamps. Here's the finished look. I'm going to address a couple questions that people tend to ask more than once, usually on different videos. One, yes, you have to cure the strips before you do the top coat. If they're UV curable strips, if they're semi-cured like Ahora, Lit Gels, Hey Hey, Dashing Diva Glaze, Kijibae that I'm showing here, you do have to cure them before you do the top coat. And then for this top coat, because I did 2 coats of it, you would cure between each coat. Do 1 coat, cure, coat 2, cure. Okay, I hope that helps. The next question that popped up recently here on my super long lasting manicure that I just removed a couple days ago, people asked, well, do you think it lasted so long because of the top coat? No. The top coat helps with the wear and tear and potential separation at the tips. A top coat, no matter how good it is, will not help a bad manicure, poorly applied, or a bad quality of a strip to stick around the cuticle, because we're not covering this free edge here. We're not applying the top coat over the skin and kind of coating everything, right? You don't want to do that. That would look awful. It exposes you to potential for allergies, etc. So while a top coat could maybe hide some application sins and it could extend the life at the tips, it is not going to give you significantly longer lasting manicure when it comes to the cuticles, okay? I think my manicure lasted so long the last time because Hey Hey typically does really well, and because honestly my application is pretty on point at this point because I just do it so much, I've done it so much, and because I'm very, very precise. And hopefully if you adapt some of the tricks I'm showing you, you will also have really long lasting manicures. One more thing that I will add is please don't keep them on for longer than 14 to let's say 17 days. Do what I say, don't do what I do. When you're keeping your manicure for longer than the recommended 2 weeks, you are exposing yourself to risk of moisture getting in there. Maybe there's some lifting that you can't see yet, etc. And you can have green nails and you can have different problems, nail fungus, etc. If it's just a green nail, it's not a huge deal. That happened to me one time under press-ons. Once you take them off and wash your hands and use rubbing alcohol, whatever, that greenness, it just has to grow off. There's no further damage. But there's a potential for way bigger problems. So please stick to the recommended 2 weeks, okay? And remove them after that. And normally that's what I do. I just lost track of time. Some final thoughts. The file they provide is absolutely wonderful. I'm going to keep that. A lot of the files are crappy that are provided in these kits, but this is great. I like the application. It was not difficult. I do find that peeling the stickers off of the backing that they came on was a little bit trickier than typical, I would say, because it required me to pull a little bit harder than normally, and it makes it easier to accidentally stretch and distort the design. I didn't suffer too much with that though. The sizing works well for my hands. While I have enough strips left over for a second manicure as far as quantity, the sizing that's left over is not going to work for me, so I can only get 1 manicure out of the package. Of course, the most important question is how long will these last? I will update you in the comments. I also post on my Instagram stories with updates. You can follow me at KBeautyHobbit. Links for everything are going to be below in the description box. If I have any coupon codes or any affiliate discounts or anything, I put them all in there. The Sun Glitz top coat is really awesome. It makes everything feel extra shiny, extra glossy feel and look. It feels nice and hard. It feels like the tips are now secure. I really enjoy the added interesting sparkle, but I think the nail design by itself looked really good. I love the slight ombre to the kind of cuticle end here. It makes it look more interesting and more sophisticated, more visually pleasing than if the strip was all just one solid color, all the same tone. So overall, I'm really hoping that this manicure lasts me. Realistically, this is probably the last video I'm filming in this house. We lived here for 14 years. I am really excited to move to our new house, but it's also so emotional. Not only did I bring both my kids to this house from the hospital, but I also started my blog here. So many things happened here. I'm really, really excited for the next chapter. And now that we got the weird emotions out of the way, thank you so much for watching. You can find me on Instagram at KBeautyHobbit, my blog KBeautyHobbit.com, and in my private Facebook group, Korean Beauty Fanatics. As always, if you have questions or if you have recommendations on something I should try next, please leave me a comment. I try to get back to all of you as soon as I can. Thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful week, and I hope I see you in the next video. Thanks so much. Bye.